Behind the scenes, the WNBA is experiencing a tempest that has nothing to do with rivalries, all-star choices, or even the never-ending conversation about rookie veteran tensions. No, this is a much more significant issue. Something fundamental to the league's efforts to safeguard, develop, and maintain its greatest players. Caitlin Clark is at the center of it all. The newest star in women's basketball is coping with a health issue that, if left untreated, could ruin not just her season, but her entire career path. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 83% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the video, and now Tim Grover. Yes, the same Tim Grover who assisted Michael Jordan in becoming Michael Jordan is raising the alarm. Grover, who is renowned for turning Jordan's early injury-plagued years into the basis for GOAT-level supremacy, sees warning indications in Clark's circumstances. Grover draws a direct connection between Clark's current injury spiral and the identical biomechanical failures that nearly ended Jordan's prime before it even started. In his opinion, this is not just terrible, but also a calamity that could have been avoided. Let's dissect it. Clark came into the league on the biggest wave in the history of women's basketball. She wasn't simply drafted. She had sold-out venues, record-shattering college performances, and a magnetism that turned casual admirers into obsessives. She received an anointing, but that remarkable rise came with an invisible cost. Her body underwent an abrupt change that the experts tasked with overseeing her growth failed to notice. Clark gained a lot of muscle during the offseason. She appeared robust, energetic, and powerful in photos. Analysts marveled at her pro-ready build. Her dedication to improving her physical condition was praised by commentators. Grover, however, sees a risky oversight behind all that praise. According to him, the problem isn't strength. It's sequencing. Clark certainly added muscle. But did her fascia, joints, and nervous system adapt at the same pace? Did her movement patterns evolve to accommodate the additional weight her body was now carrying? In Grover's world, strength means nothing if your body cannot use it safely. And that's where the warning signs begin to emerge. This season, Clark has missed several games because of groin strains, quad soreness, and recurring soft tissue issues that seem to shift from one side of her body to the other. According to Grover, this is a classic compensation cycle and a clear warning pattern. One side breaks down first, the other overcompensates, and then that side eventually breaks down as well. The cycle simply repeats. Unless someone steps in to correct her biomechanics, the injuries are likely to continue and may become even more severe over time. Furthermore, Grover warns that many professional organizations, including what appears to be the Indiana Fever, are still relying on a dangerously outdated approach. The primary focus remains on output, becoming stronger, faster, and more explosive. However, few trainers are familiar with the human body's braking system. Instead of training deceleration, they train acceleration. And that's a serious weakness because careers terminate when there is no control over speed. On the court, Clark is a stop-and-go machine despite her flair, range, and vision. She frequently pulls up, pivots, shifts her center of gravity, and decelerates from full sprints. Additionally, her soft tissues, particularly those in the hips, quadriceps, and groin, will rip under strain if they aren't adjusted for that demand. And they have. Grover goes beyond biomechanics. He also calls into question the WNBA's injury management strategy, and to be honest, it doesn't look good. Reports state that Clark has already started looking for outside medical advice. That in and of itself is damning. It sends a strong message when a newbie searches for answers outside of her team. She has little faith in the system that surrounds her. Grover believes that system is reactive rather than proactive. In practice, players make adjustments. They put ice on it. Something hurts. They put to rest. However, where's the proactive remedy? Where's the prehab? Where's the individualized motion analysis that identifies danger before becoming injury? That doesn't seem to be taking place. Rather, Clark is being handled in an antiquated manner. If something goes wrong, apply another ice pack and restart the process. Otherwise, patch it up, put her out there, and pray for the best. It's not only about Caitlin Clark, though Grover's critique shows a bigger structural problem of how the WNBA treats its athletes. These are top performers whose careers and bodies are on the line, yet they're often being trained and managed like weekend warriors. Despite this, remember that early in his career, Michael Jordan also struggled with ankle and groin injuries. In addition, he dealt with movement flaws, joint stiffness, and muscular imbalances that threatened to derail his greatness before it even began. He had Tim Grover, a trainer who didn't care about team politics or league regulations, a trainer who tore apart his movement from the inside out, rebuilt it, and constructed a durable engine that performed at the highest level for years. Clark doesn't have that at the moment. What she has is a growing list of injuries and a ticking clock. Then there's a noise coming from the locker room and spilling into the media. We're now seeing cracks begin to appear in Indiana. Teammates, public criticism from families, rumors of jealousy, and tense locker room vibes are difficult for any player, let alone one trying to recover from injuries. That kind of environment is poisonous. Recovery isn't only physical, it's mental and emotional as well. The best athletes recover faster when they're surrounded by stability, trust, and purpose. Clark doesn't have much of that right now. She's under constant pressure. She faces enormous expectations. No rookie has ever had to carry a spotlight as intense as hers at SO. Where does this go? This cycle won't end if nothing changes. If Clark is still forced to play games before her body is fully recovered, if her training doesn't progress beyond simple strength training, and if her mechanics aren't examined and adjusted, it will get worse. Hip impingements result from groin injuries. Patellar tendinitis develops from quad stresses. One problem spills over into another, and eventually, it's more than simply a lousy season. It's a career gone that's a warning shot. Caitlin Clark is not broken. According to Grover's message, a system that isn't designed to foster greatness is failing Caitlin Clark. By a league that hasn't expanded its medical facilities to accommodate its burgeoning players' needs. By a group that appears to be more focused on appearances than durability. Perhaps it's time for that to change. That Clark's entry in the WNBA produced a tidal wave of attention, income, and new fans. She is currently the most valuable asset in the league, but assets need to be protected. She cannot serve as both your recuperation afterthought and your marketing engine. Checking the tires is a must when driving a Ferrari. A sprained ankle prevents you from running a marathon. For the sole purpose of filling seats, why are we witnessing the most significant rookie in league history battle through injuries? It is not long-sighted. It's reckless and it's avoidable. The answer isn't complicated. Bring in the specialists. Audit the training staff. Make Clark's development unique. Adjust the patterns of movement. Reduce the rate of return. Create a structure that prioritizes long-term success over immediate media attention, because we've witnessed the consequences of doing so. Michael Jordan is his name. The WNBA is currently using the Caitlin Clark controversy as a litmus test, not only about managing injuries, but also about the type of league it aspires to be. Does it want to be a progressive professional organization that prioritizes medical excellence, longevity, and athlete development? Or will it continue to be trapped in an antiquated, reactive cycle that all too frequently sees athletes endure suffering, receive recognition for their resilience, and then be dismissed when their injuries become career-threatening? As of right now, every indication points to the latter. The hardest part is that things didn't have to be this way. Caitlin Clark had every advantage a rookie could hope for when she entered the league. Expectations are high. There's a lot of pomp. And the spotlight is higher than it has ever been for any WNBA player. The investment is her. She's not simply a player. She is the main advertising campaign for the league. Its viral social media hook, its ticket boost, and its ratings motor. No commissioner or campaign has ever done more to increase the WNBA's audience than she has. And yet, she's being treated like a throwaway piece of the puzzle. Someone to tape up and push out the door for another social media post, another ESPN highlight clip, or another sellout game. Stop ignoring the screams coming from her body. Tim Grover notices this. Additionally, he has already been here with Dwayne Wade, Jordan, and Kobe. He has achieved brilliance in his work and knows how to maintain it. Grover recognizes that true greatness doesn't come from playing through suffering, something that the WNBA, the Indiana Fever, and perhaps even Clark's own inner circle seem to be lacking. It is a result of solving it. Because of this, Grover's training philosophy never focused solely on strengthening athletes. Making them whole was the goal. It was about control, power, neuromuscular sequencing, movement mechanics, and fixing even the tiniest inefficiencies before they became serious ailments. It's a method based on accuracy and patience rather than performance anxiety. Compare that to the current situation. Clark's been pushed back on the court many times this season, typically following brief recovery periods or ambiguous injury bulletins. Her minutes change, her explosiveness varies. On certain evenings, she resembles herself. On others, it's clear that she is hesitant when driving, that her gait is stiff, and that she lacks lateral stability, all of which indicate that she is not entirely recovered. However, there are too many streaming partnerships, too many sold-out arenas, too much pressure, too much money at stake, and too many camera crews tracking her every step. Even if the parts are malfunctioning, the machine needs to continue operating. That isn't sustainable, though. Grover's caution is not about making temporary adjustments. It's an appeal for a complete restart. Because Clark's injuries aren't the only issue. They become chronic because of their surroundings. Now, let's discuss the muscular gain. It was evident that Clark had bulked up going into her rookie season. There was a noticeable gain in her upper body strength. Her legs appeared stronger, and the overall consensus was that she's WNBA ready now. However, Grover points out that this change might have occurred too soon. Biomechanics can be severely disrupted by rapid muscle increase, particularly if movement patterns are not rewired. Suddenly, fresh strength overwhelms muscles that were accustomed to firing in a particular order. Core stabilizers don't keep up. Joint control gets out of sync. Ligaments and tendons that were previously subjected to a particular load are now under greater strain. They lack the necessary training. In other words, the frame hasn't been strengthened, but the engine is more powerful. That's similar to increasing a car's horsepower without changing the brakes, suspension, or tires. Yes, it may go faster at first, but eventually something breaks. Clark's groin injuries are a classic symptom of this. There's a reason why groins strain. They give way when there is uneven force absorption, which is typically caused by hip misalignment, poor deceleration mechanics, or compensatory tension from nearby muscle groups that are either underdeveloped or overworked. The fact that the injuries are bilateral is much more concerning. One side first, then the other. That is a classic indication of compensation. When one side sustains damage, the other becomes more strained. Then it breaks down into a cycle that Grover has witnessed 100 times, and that nearly put an end to Jordan's ascension before it ever started. Grover went deep and slowed everything down to break the pattern. By evaluating the complete kinetic chain in addition to the injury site, how did Jordan land? How did he pivot during a jump stop? How did his hips move? How was the shock absorbed by his ankles? Every little inefficiency was found and fixed. ASA result. Jordan went from missing significant portions of his early career to dominating for more than 10 years without suffering a serious soft tissue injury. Clark is in dire need of that same intervention. Furthermore, it goes beyond simply preserving her season. Without a doubt, she has the potential to be great. Therefore, it's about protecting her legacy. Her competitive fire, instincts, vision, and range are generational. But if her body isn't able to sustain it, none of that counts. And it isn't at the moment. She loses out on the chance to mature, adjust, and become the league's top player every week she spends tending to an injury. There's also the human side. This isn't merely a theoretical load management exercise. This is a young woman dealing with physical discomfort, mental hardship, public scrutiny, and internal pressure all at once. Clark is surrounded by an overwhelming amount of noise. Every action she takes is scrutinized by social media. Fans demand perfection. Families of teammates go on Facebook rants. Her toughness is questioned by commentators. Even the most mentally tough athlete could be worn down by this toxic combination. However, where's the institutional backing? Where are the WNBA officials stepping in to assure she has access to world-class medical care, top-tier trainers, sports psychologists, and personal performance specialists? Where's the league-mandated commitment to player wellness that guarantees its top player isn't navigating this maze by herself? The deafening silence is perilous because it will not just be a personal tragedy. If Clark burns out or breaks down, there will be a league-wide reckoning. she has played a significant role in the WNBA's rise in popularity. She increased sponsorships, attracted new viewers, filled arenas, and made a league a topic of conversation across the world. Subscribe and enable all notifications so you don't miss anything. We'll see you in the next one after you click the video on the screen.